Good evening to our viewers watching on television and to those joining us across our social media platforms. I am Daniela Arauj with the Wednesday, August 12th edition of the Guyana TV9 News. In the headlines tonight, NANDLALL warns public criticism of judges could cross line into contempt. Protest rights must not override the rights of others. US eyes bigger role in Guyana's economic and security transformation. From regional rings to global dreams, CBO backs Caribbean fighters. And Guyana's oil boom crosses the billion-barrel frontier. And now for the news in depth. Guyana's rapidly expanding offshore oil industry is closing in on and may have already surpassed a historic milestone, with cumulative crude oil production from the prolific Stabroek Block estimated to have crossed 1 billion barrels. The landmark comes less than 70 years after the country began commercial oil production at the Liza Phase 1 development in December 2019, marking one of the fastest offshore production expansions in the world. Here's more in this report.
Since that first barrel, production in the Stabroek Block has grown through successive developments, transforming Guyana from a non-oil producing nation into one of the world's fastest growing oil producers. Current output averages about 900,000 barrels of oil per day, with additional production capacity expected to come on stream as new developments are commissioned. The next major step is the Waru development, which is expected to begin production by the end of 2026. Once operational, Waru is projected to push Guyana's daily oil production beyond the 1 million barrel threshold, further cementing the country's position as a significant player in the global offshore petroleum industry. The scale and speed of that expansion were highlighted by Alistair Routledge, who is the president of ExxonMobil Guyana Limited, who said Guyana is on course to cross the million barrel per day mark before the end of the year. He described the pace of development as remarkable, noting that the country has reached this point in little more than a decade since the discoveries that set the foundation for its offshore oil industry.
We anticipate by the end of this year, the Guyana will push beyond the frontier of 1 million barrels per day of production. Quite a remarkable story in not much more than 11 years.
Routledge also pointed to the significance of cumulative production, saying the country may already have reached the 1 billion barrel milestone, depending on how production volumes are calculated. The achievement would represent another major marker in Guyana's transformation and underscore the extraordinary scale of activity that has taken place in the Stabroek Block since the start of commercial production in 2019.
Depending on how you count the barrels, we may already have surpassed 1 billion barrels of production in Guyana. The first 1 billion barrels of production. Quite a feat in such a short space of time, and truly pushing beyond frontiers that in any other deep water or even offshore location has never been achieved at this pace with the same safety record and protection of the environment.
The projected production increases come as Guyana and ExxonMobil-led consortium continue preparations for another phase of expansion in the Stabroek Block, with Waru expected to take production beyond 1 million barrels per day. The country is approaching a new chapter in its oil industry, one defined not only by the speed of production growth, but also by the challenge of managing the economic, environmental, and developmental implications of becoming a major petroleum producer. Brad D'Souza reporting for Guyana TV9 News.
The Guyana Boxing Board of Control is preparing to host its second Caribbean Boxing Fight Night later this year, with organizers promising another opportunity for some of the region's emerging fighters to gain valuable experience and strengthen their professional records. Here's more in this report.
Speaking at a recent press conference at the Tower Hotel, Board President Peter Abdul praised the Caribbean Boxing Organization for its continued work in creating opportunities for boxers across the Caribbean. Abdul said the organization's regional approach is helping to bring together fighters who might otherwise struggle to secure regular competitive bouts. Abdul credited CBO head Mr. Bristol with taking on the responsibility of putting fights together and creating a pathway for boxers to develop their careers. He said the importance of that work is often overlooked because fans tend to focus on major title fights without considering the series of bouts and experiences required to prepare fighters for that level.
It is extraordinary that the CBO under the guidance of Mr. Bristol, has taken up that mantle. The mantle is a very, very important one. He is the person that is actually putting the fights together, and this is the organization putting the fights together that are allowing fighters an opportunity to fight and develop and build their records.
According to Abdul, the upcoming event will also allow fighters who appeared on the previous card to continue their development, reinforcing the importance of consistent activity in the careers of professional boxers. He noted that the CBO's work extends beyond Guyana, with events being staged regionally to bring some of the Caribbean's best talent together. He also highlighted the contribution of Dexter Patterson and others involved in the development process, stressing that fighters need more than occasional high-profile appearances to progress. Abdul said regular bouts provide boxers with the opportunity to gain experience, improve their records, and gradually position themselves for bigger opportunities, including regional and international title contests. The board president further pointed to the involvement of Dexter Pembroke, who is expected to film the fight, as another important step in strengthening the production and exposure of local boxing events. Abdul said recording and presenting the bouts professionally will build the experience needed to produce quality shows capable of showcasing Caribbean fighters to audiences beyond the region.
We are bringing the best of the Caribbean together and building them with their records. What you will see is that these guys who fought on the last card have an opportunity to develop themselves further into another card. So whilst this is often an aspect that you overlook, and many people come out to see the world title fight when it's finally there, they don't appreciate what it takes to get the fighter to that point. And people like Mr. Bristol and Dexter Patterson and so on are imperative to that. In addition to that, he's not only doing that, he's also building, he's making sure that Dexter Pembroke is on board, which means that he's going to film the fight, which means that we are also gaining the experience that is necessary to produce shows that actually expose our fighters.
With the second Caribbean Boxing Fight Night now in preparation, the event is being positioned as more than another night of competition. For the organizers, it represents part of a broader effort to provide Caribbean fighters with regular opportunities to compete, build their records, and gain the exposure and experience needed to advance toward the international stage. Brad D'Souza reporting for Guyana TV9 News.
More news after the break. Do stay with us.
I know you have work to do, but come, I just need a minute of your time. It won't even take that long. So, I have a proposal. We could do besties in Punta Cana. Really need a getaway. And not to worry, I went to Sunita Travel Agency and they recommended a few hotels that do all-inclusive stays. And they're very affordable. The vibes. Let me tell you something. We do not want to miss a trip to Punta Cana. Why? Ziplining. No, I know this is not your vibe, but please, listen. Hold on, wait. I know you like throw it back. There's a boat party. We could go there. And then there's this thing called buggy adventure, some buggy something. I don't know, but I want to be a buggy or whatever it is. I just want to be a part of it. And then we got snorkeling. Oh, this thing is so ugly. Please, you be next to uglier things than this. Stop it. Trust me, you're going to love it. It'll be just you and me, Punta Cana, drinks, just having the time of our life. Not to worry. We've got many flight options, and they made sure that they went through it with me. The prices are affordable. Trust me. I know you like thinking about the budget or whatever. Remember the time when we went and we missed the flight? Yeah, when we booked with Sunita Travel Agency, even if it happens, with slim chance, they'll know what to do and we won't be stranded like we did the last time. This solid plan. You, me, Punta Cana. Cheap. It won't even hurt your pocket. Please say yes. Yes.
Welcome back. You're watching Guyana TV9 News Bulletin. The United States is signaling a stronger commitment to Guyana's economic transformation, with U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Ladau saying Washington is prepared to partner with Georgetown to turn the country's growing energy wealth and other resources into wider development. Here's more in this report. Landau made the remarks during his visits to Georgetown, where he held discussions with President Irfan Ali on economic development, security, and counter-narcotics cooperation. Landau described Guyana as one of the world's fastest-growing economies and said the country's natural and human resources present significant opportunities for long-term development. He said his discussions with President Ali focused on building a future that delivers greater prosperity for Guyanese while also creating opportunities for stronger economic ties between Guyana and the United States.
Economic area is booming here in Guyana. I think it's the fastest growing country in the world. The security area, we have many common interests in fighting organized crime and stopping drug flows in this region. I had a terrific meeting today with President Ali, whom I'd met a few months ago at the Shield of the Americas Summit in Miami with President Trump. And we are very excited about partnering with Guyana as it is taking advantage of its resources, both its natural resources, its human resources, to build a better future. And
a major focus of the talks was infrastructure, with Landau arguing that Guyana needs strong infrastructure as the foundation for continued economic expansion. He identified ports, roads, and housing among areas where the two countries could cooperate, while also pointing to potential development in locations including Berbice, Lethem, and the wider Demerara region. Landau said the goal is to help connect resources, people, and markets while improving the quality of life across the country. He said Guyana's energy resources provide an important foundation for broader economic development and expressed Washington's interest in helping the country leverage those resources across multiple sectors. Landau said improved ports could facilitate the movement of goods, while better roads could support transportation throughout Guyana and enter the wider region. He also highlighted the potential for investment in commercial facilities, sporting infrastructure, and housing.
The economic area where Guyana is at a stage in development where it needs infrastructure as the foundation for further economic growth. It has obviously tremendous resources in terms of energy, which is the foundation of all economic development. And we want to partner with Guyana to leverage those resources.
Alongside economic cooperation, the United States and Guyana also moved to strengthen collaboration on security and counter-narcotics efforts. During the visit, the two countries signed a memorandum of understanding covering cooperation in those areas. Landau said the agreement reflects shared concerns about organized crime and drug trafficking in the Caribbean, stressing that both countries have an interest in preventing criminal networks from establishing a foothold in Guyana. Landau also underscored Guyana's strategic importance to the United States and the wider Caribbean, describing the country as a key partner in efforts to promote regional security, investment, and prosperity. He said Washington wants to work closely with the Ali administration across a range of issues and views Guyana as one of the world's emerging countries. His message was that the United States wants to be involved in Guyana's development story while helping to build a safer, more connected, and prosperous future for both nations. Daniela Arajo, Guy TV9 News. More news after the break. Do stay with us.
Want to place your death announcements and in memoriam messages on Channel 9? Call 592-761-5006, 710-5008, 600-5006. Or visit our office at Lot 85A Lamaha Street, Albertown, Georgetown, Century 21 Building.
Guyana Channel 9 is now Guy TV9, proudly under new management. We're building stronger with a balanced and open platform for all advertisers. Whether you're promoting a business, service, or event, your message belongs right here. So choose your spot, news, prime time, or anytime, and reach viewers across Guyana. With affordable rates and professional service, Guy TV9 is your partner in progress. So visit us at Lot 21A, Lamaha Street, Georgetown, in the Century 21 building, or call 600-5006 or 761-5006. Guyana TV9. New leadership, fresh outlook, real results.
Welcome back. You're watching Guyana TV9 News Bulletin. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs NANDLALL is warning that while people have a right to publicly criticize the Caribbean Court of Justice and its judges, that freedom has limits. His comments came as he addressed the controversy surrounding the alleged leaked internal correspondence involving judges of the regional court. Here's more in this report.
Minister NANDLALL said the CCJ is Guyana's final court of appeal and therefore occupies the highest position within the country's justice system. Against that backdrop, he argued that public criticism of the court and its members must be expressed respectfully and cannot descend into personal attacks or statements that undermine the administration of justice.
The Bar Council believes that the President of the Caribbean Court of Justice, as the leader of the court, should be afforded sufficient latitude to articulate and implement a vision for the court and the principles governing its administration with due regard to the Code of Judicial Conduct of the Caribbean Court of Justice. The Bar Council expresses no view on the substance of the matters raised in the correspondence.
Minister NANDLALL's warning comes after he highlighted a Facebook post by one of the opposition members, Mark Goring, of We Invest in Nationhood, which he described as a grossly disrespectful and scurrilous attack on the President of the Caribbean Court of Justice. Minister NANDLALL argued that such statements goes beyond legitimate criticism and can damage public confidence in the judiciary.
The similarity in tone and content between this statement and the statement that came from the judiciaries of the Caribbean that I alluded to earlier. At least one member of the legal profession of Guyana has made a public commentary on the matter.
The Attorney General further warned that attacks of this nature could have consequences under the law, saying conduct that brings the administration of justice into disrepute may constitute contempt of court. His position comes as the CCJ faces heightened public scrutiny following the disclosure of the internal correspondence, even as regional heads of judiciary and Guyana's Bar Council have urged restraint and defended the confidentiality of judicial communications.
Guyana's constitution protects the rights of citizens to protest peacefully, but Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs NANDLALL says that freedom cannot be exercised in a way that infringes on the rights of others. He stressed that the right to demonstrate must exist alongside the right of other citizens to meet, associate, and participate in political activities without interference. Here's more.
Speaking Tuesday night on its program Issues in the News, NANDLALL referred to Article 147 of the Constitution, which guarantees freedom of assembly, association, and peaceful demonstration. He noted, however, that the Constitution also permits reasonable restrictions aimed at maintaining public safety and order and protecting the rights and freedoms of other people.
So you have a right to protest. You have a right to assemble. But you must understand that the persons who are attending those meetings also have a right to assemble. And they are exercising that right to assemble when they attend those meetings. You have a right to protest and to do so peacefully.
Minister NANDLAL's remarks followed the confrontation in Linden during a political meeting involving the Vice President Mario Jagdeo. He alleged that the opposition leader and other opposition parliamentarians crossed the boundary of lawful protest when they reportedly breached a barrier while attempting to disrupt the gathering. According to NANDLAL, the people inside the venue were exercising their own constitutional right to assemble. He argued that the key issue is not whether citizens can protest, but how that protest is conducted. Peaceful demonstrations are constitutionally protected, he said, but behavior that becomes disorderly, threatening, or unlawful can fall outside those protections. He pointed to laws dealing with disorderly conduct, riotous behavior, and unlawful assembly as measures intended, in part, to safeguard the rights of others.
But in the exercise of your right to protest, you can't interfere with the other people's right to assemble, to attend the meetings. They have an equal right like yours. And therefore, when you demonstrate and you protest to prevent those people or affecting them from attending their meetings or affecting those meetings with your loud noises, you are interfering with their rights. Is not you alone have rights?
Minister NANDLAL also criticized political leaders who, he said, may encourage or tolerate confrontational behavior among supporters while remaining away from the front lines. He maintained that politicians have a responsibility to exercise restraint and set an example, particularly during politically charged situations where tensions can quickly escalate. Reflecting on his own years in opposition between 2015 and 2020, NANDLAL said PPP leaders participated in demonstrations but maintained that those protests were conducted peacefully. He recalled measures taken to identify demonstrations as peaceful and said the experience reinforced his view that the right to protest carries responsibilities. He also cited a judgment by Justice R. H. Lockhu in Frank Hope versus New Guyana Company Limited to support the broader principle that unrestricted freedom can eventually threaten the freedom it is meant to protect. For NANDLAL, Guyanese have the right to challenge and protest against those with whom they disagree, but that right does not automatically extend to disrupting meetings, threatening participants, or preventing others from exercising their own constitutional freedoms. Bradley Souza reporting for Guyana TV9 News.
Now for your Caribbean news brief. 4 people have been killed in 2 separate road crashes in Jamaica, pushing the country's road fatalities to 199 for the year. 2 men died Wednesday morning in Manchester when their motorcycle collided with a Honda vessel. On Tuesday evening, 2 others were killed in Discovery Bay, St. Anne, after a speeding Toyota Corolla collided with 2 vehicles. Jamaica has recorded 172 fatal crashes so far this year, with fatalities down to 16% compared to the same last year during this period. Now, turning to the international news. Spain has rejected renewed Moroccan claims to sovereignty over Ceuta and Melilla, saying that North African enclaves are integral parts of Spanish territory. Morocco's justice minister said Rabat continues to raise the issue in talks with Madrid. The dispute follows a deadly July border rush into Ceuta that killed at least 96 people. Spain says its territorial integrity is not negotiable, while Morocco has increased security around both enclaves amid online calls for another mass crossing attempt on August 15th. Now, we tell you that Mount Etna's ongoing eruption in Sicily is disrupting air travel across parts of southern Europe. Fresh volcanic ash forced the closure of Catania Airport, with flight restrictions extended into Thursday. The ash cloud has also reached Malta, where 19 flights were cancelled and several others delayed. Authorities continue to monitor the volcanic activity and advise passengers to check their flight status before traveling. And those are our major headlines for tonight's newscast. For more trending stories, follow us on our Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube platforms at GUYTV9. I am Daniela Adelucia. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Do have a great evening. Until next time. Bye for now.